For those of you that are familiar with my content, either because you train with me in person or you're a member of my online school, so you have access to my online lessons, or just from YouTube, you will know I often interchangeably talk about martial arts and cultivation and spiritual growth and personal growth. Sometimes I get some people who are confused by this and don't understand why I mix up martial arts with cultivation. It's a popular view that martial arts is just for combat and spiritual practices and cultivation should be that on its own. The two shouldn't mix. I want to do this video to explain why I talk about them interchangeably and how I believe, in my opinion, if the traditional Chinese arts are trained correctly, that's where they inevitably lead, whether you like it or not. So I'm going to talk about the Fujian system, the crane system, the tiger crane combination system that I practice, and that's the vehicle for my martial arts training and for my cultivation, and explain how, whether we like it or not, if trained correctly, it leads on a path of cultivation. So if we look at the founding story, the legend of Bodhidharma, Bodhidharma came to the Shaolin temple, saw that the monks were focusing too much on meditative practice, on prayer, on sutra recitation, and were neglecting their physical body. So the story goes, he goes away, he meditates, and he comes back with the Yi Jin Jing, which is the tendon changing classic, yeah, which is the foundational set of principles that are supposed to take a weak body to a highly efficient body. This is the foundational story, yeah? Whether it's true, whether it's not, I don't know. But it gives us an idea of how this set of principles was introduced into the Shaolin systems at some point. And the Yi Jin Jing principles, again, I'm not talking about the popular Yi Jin Jing exercises, which are sets of exercises that people are supposed to do, and it develops one through the Yi Jin Jing process. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't believe that it's a set of exercises. The Yi Jin Jing process is a set of principles that are put into, in my opinion, authentic traditional Chinese arts, martial arts, Qigong arts, internal arts, to start this process of body efficiency. So if we look at our system, the San Zhan forms within the system, with, I think we have about 7 or 8. These are designed to take the body of the practitioner through the Yi Jin Jing process. Now, the first thing a practitioner needs to do, again, if we go back to the legend, is to become healthy, to become strong, to become robust with their body. Yeah? This is the first thing. So when we first start practicing our San Zhan form, it's done quite hard, it's done quite strong, right? Robust movement, lots of locking position, lots of strong internal stretches, hard breathing methods to strengthen up the body. A bit similar to some of the karate styles that you see doing San Chin, where it's quite hard movement. Now, the hard movement is not muscle tension. I'm not tensing the muscles. It's more of holding structural points in place and trying to stretch and move within that defined set of structural points, which gives it quite a blocky, rigid looking movement. I'm not tensing, I'm just moving within this structural set. When the body then becomes strong, becomes robust, can take impact, is healthy, the bones are healthy, the joints are open, stretched, flexible, then the next stage of the Yi Jin Jing process is using the San Zhan form, again within our system, using the San Zhan form to start working with the chi flow of the body. Start working with the tendons, with the sinews, and by tendons and sinews I don't mean the ligaments that are connecting the joints, but the pathways. Yeah, there's specific pathways that run through the muscular system that connect up the body. So we use the San Zhan to start stretching these specific lines. Okay? These channels, opening them, stretching them. Then the San Zhan isn't as blocky. It becomes a bit more softer. Well, it looks softer. It's still not quite soft because there's quite a lot of pulling and movement going on, but it's specific points that are being stretched. Because we're only stretching these specific points, the rest of the muscles, the big muscles on the outside, they're relaxed. They're supposed to be released and relaxed. There's no contraction. So what you've got is this really strong elastic channels throughout the relaxed muscle system. And at the same time, because the muscles are relaxed and they're hanging off the bones, you're creating the white tissue that's connecting the bones to the muscles and wrapped around the body is starting to stretch and become elastic and become inflated. And while that's happening, that's filling with chi, that's filling with the energy system of the body. And that gives you this quality of, because your muscles are relaxed, on touch it's quite soft, but the closer you get to the bone, it's solid, it's elastic, it's solid, giving you the classic white crane body, which is supposed to be cotton wrapped around iron or needling cotton. Soft on the outside, but solid as you get closer to the bone. So somebody impacts you and touches you, it's not hard on the outside, but it feels like it's really solid as they try to penetrate, and it's not going through. Then, as we're developing all of this, as I explained, the energetic system is also starting to develop, yeah? So the movements no longer just become about stretching, but as I draw the hands in, I'm compressing the chi down into the martial dantian area. And I'm building all of this chi and I'm forcing them into the channels that I've been developing. The elbows squeeze and cause more compression, right? So I'm changing all of these movements to cause the body's energetic system to develop and grow. Now this process, as we go through it, yep, I can hear you say, well, it's still just body. What's this got to do with cultivation and spirituality? Now, Bodhidharma's method wasn't just the Yi Jin Jing. It was also the marrow brainwashing. I can't remember the Chinese term for it. Something shui jing, shi shui jing or something like that. The Marrow Brainwashing Classic. So, again, this is a set of principles, a set of changes that occur if and when the Yi Jin Jing process is done correctly. So if you're training your Kung Fu system correctly within the principles of the Yi Jin Jing, or the principles of the Yi Jin Jing are contained within your system, then the development of the body and the energetic system will eventually lead to the marrow brainwashing, yeah? Will eventually lead to the higher, more advanced practices, which is to do with spiritual cultivation, which is to do with training the mind, yeah, training the spirit, the Shen, the training stillness, yeah, or finding, settling into stillness. So for me, because I train the Yi Jin Jing process, and I have trained the Yi Jin Jing process for as long as I can remember within my Kung Fu system, this inevitably, whether I like it or not, leads to cultivation practice, and spiritual practice. This is for me, yeah? This is how I train. And I believe, this is again my opinion, anybody who trains within this set of, this paradigm, this Yi Jin Jing paradigm, will find a spiritual path in their practice. And when you come to a point where maybe you've been training for 10 to 15 years and you're, you're sparring, you're fighting with it, you're a pretty good fighter, and you are confident, you're strong, and you find this tool that you've been using to make your body so efficient is actually the same tool that you can use to cultivate, to ultimately union with the divine, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, then why would you not use it? For me, my martial arts path and my spiritual cultivation path is the same thing. It's a process of working through the body, through the Yi Jin Jing process, leading into the advanced practices, leading into cultivation, and hopefully one day into union. Now, I understand there's many different ways to teach and there's many different ways to learn. I'm not saying my way is the only way. I'm saying this is why I don't differentiate between my martial arts training and my cultivation practice. And this is how I teach as well, because I think it's inevitable if you're training correctly through the Yi Jin Jing process and you've incorporated these principles into your forms, it's inevitable for the path to lead you to spiritual cultivation. It's just my opinion.